On this edition of Small Town Big Deal, we dive into the secret world of naval special warfare.
Taking down the bad guy.
We visit a place dedicated to preserving the historic stories and honoring the incredible sacrifice of this elite fighting force. And we'll tell one small town's tale of Beauty and the Bun.
Definitely worth the wait. I really like you. Welcome to Small Town Big Deal. I'm Rodney Miller.
And I'm Jan Carl.
America's elite fighting force, a group of secret warriors, often acting as the tip of the spear in combat operations.
They are the Navy SEALs, and today we are honoring this very special group of American heroes and revealing a few things about them you probably don't know. Whether watching rare images on film or seeing them in person at an annual muster in Florida,
Take down that terrorist. Go, boy, go.
the extraordinary skills of the Navy SEALs are clearly visible.
The muster held at their National Museum gives us mere mortal citizens an opportunity to see their training in action.
For most of us, the SEALs are both legendary and mysterious. But if you really want to learn more about these fearless fighters, there's no better place than the National Navy UDT SEAL Museum.
Our mission statement is preserve the history and heritage of the Navy SEALs. The very first unit was called Naval Combat Demolition Units that trained right here at our museum site for World War II to take the beaches of Normandy.
And by right here, Rick is talking about the beaches of Fort Pierce, Florida, which is less than a 2-hour drive south of Orlando. It was at this beach where many men trained for those fateful battles, and is just a stone's throw from the museum.
June 6, 1944, D-Day. The NCDUs at Omaha Beach and Utah Beach were able to penetrate German defenses.
Those first units came to be called Underwater Demolition Teams, hence the letters UDT in the museum's official title.
The museum has artifacts, videos, and interactive displays that cover the entire history of the teams, whereas they're also known the Frogmen.
We're all called frogmen because that's the major part of our mission, is waterborne. Where there's water, we go.
By the early 1960s, the first units to officially be called SEALs were established, and these waterborne warriors had greatly expanded their capabilities. The old premise that the UDT responsibilities ended at the high water mark was a thing of the past.
I always thought SEALs were named after SEALs, but it's actually an acronym for Sea, Air, and Land.
Over the next decade, the SEALs would need all their incredible skills on the rivers and in the jungles of Vietnam.
A lot of those guys came back with a lot of physical and mental scars. It wasn't a popular war, but at the same time, those guys are risking their life and they're doing what they're being asked to do for their country.
And when the museum holds this yearly muster, some of the most poignant moments are when they portray SEALs from the past who made the ultimate sacrifice.
I was one of the patrolmen that was killed, right, during the Vietnam War. I really felt the intensity, and some of the VIPs in the first row were in tears. And I feel so grateful, right, to be able to have that opportunity to have the remembrance, right, of these guys who gave their life for me.
Freedom is not free. Freedom is written in blood. It's a family. It's a big, happy family, and we continue that family. You know, it's like a family reunion every year.
I love these guys. I know they'll always have my back. They'll always be there for me. And the museum keeps our history.
You know, it's interesting how they've all changed from the green camo to the desert sand color.
Yeah, that's because they adapt to where the conflicts are.
The Navy SEALs Museum follows the exploits of the teams up to the current day, including some of the team's more well-known missions.
It was SEAL Team 6 who successfully carried out the raid on Osama bin Laden's compound. Visitors can see a scale model of the Pakistani site where the daring raid took place.
Another famous SEAL team success was the rescue of Captain Richard Phillips, held for ransom by Somali pirates in 2009. This is the actual lifeboat where Captain Phillips was held, until SEAL team snipers took out his 3 captors in a skillfully coordinated strike.
To us, it's just another mission. This one happens to be in Pakistan for bin Laden, or Jessica Buchanan, with this helicopter in Somalia. And we have to be ready for that, and you don't think about the aftermath.
When you go through the museum, you try to relate to what these Navy SEALs have been through. And you sort of realize you can't, but this is the closest you're going to come to understanding.
On the museum grounds stands a statue that honors some very special SEALs who have been honored with the military's highest award.
You'd be surprised what you can do with yourself if you believe you can.
It's quite a day.
Wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you.
In Vietnam, Mike Thornton and Tom Norris were on an intelligence gathering mission when they were engaged by 150 enemy troops. When Norris was critically wounded, Thornton ran 400 yards into heavy fire, carried Norris to the beach, then swam for 2 hours until they were rescued.
You never quit and you never give up on yourself. Because I know he never would have given up on me and he never quit on me.
For his actions, Thornton received the Medal of Honor.
Ironically, Norris also received the award for a rescue he had performed a few months earlier. Their names are included with 5 other SEALs who have received this most coveted honor.
All Americans should remember those that served to give us the freedoms that we have. We should never forget that.
When we come back, we hear about the brutal training that separates the men from the SEALs.
And some heroes who are truly a different breed, but a vital part of the SEAL team.
Welcome back to Small Town Big Deal from the National Navy SEAL Museum in Fort Pierce, Florida.
The museum's displays give you a glimpse of what it would be like to be a member of one of America's most elite fighting forces.
And Jan and I don't quite measure up.
Select your transportation.
Okay.
Select your weapons.
Select your weapons. No?
I would say yes.
Okay.
Not a rocket.
No, we don't need a rocket. Do they need a wetsuit, though?
I think they do need a wetsuit.
Yeah, I think they need a wetsuit. Okay.
The one I'm not sure is this one. Let's
Great,
see.
the one I picked.
Can we go back?
Can we go back? Oh, failed. We have to return to training.
Failed.
SEAL training? I don't think so.
Me either. To earn your trident, the universally recognized symbol of the SEAL, recruits go through intensive and sometimes brutal training.
Only the very best of the best make it through.
When I started BUDS, I had 140 guys in my class. When I graduated, I had 17. You can be the best runner, the best swimmer, the best shot. It doesn't matter. If you don't have mental toughness to go through the grind of the day-to-day training at BUDS, which is basic underwater demolition SEAL training in Coronado, California, for those 6 months, you're not going to make it.
What do the select few who do make it possess?
I guess it's just determination. It's something inside of somebody that gives them that extra edge to not falter, to not quit, to follow through, and to always see solutions.
But the training isn't over yet. There are 6 more months that include parachute school, and then another 18 months of more intensive specialized training.
It's just constant, because under stress you lose a lot of fine motor skills. But if you're training and training, things under stress, it's normal. You just do things that come naturally because you've trained and trained and trained.
You want it to be like muscle memory?
Muscle memory, from shooting, from jumping, from diving.
It doesn't matter what color you are, what your creed, nationality, none of that. If you can do what's required, you can pass. Now, will they jack with you the whole time you're there? Absolutely, that's their job.
Go loud, guys, make this count.
Of course, visitors don't experience any real SEALs training, but they can walk through an obstacle course just like the one recruits use to train.
We want good push-ups. And each year at the muster, a few brave men and women volunteer to be whipped into shape by some former SEAls. Many of these gluttons for punishment also participate in the Muster 5K, held in the deep sand of the beach. The run honors the endurance of the seal and raises funds for the Triton House charities. Triton House provides support to the families of the SEALs, including an actual house on the beach.
When the guys come back from a long deployment or training, they can grab the family, come down to Florida, they got a place to stay. Having that little time to transition and kind of slow down and stop thinking about what you were doing overseas and just reconnect with your family, that's what that's for.
No, just an easy rescue.
At each year's muster, regular citizens get to connect with SEALs and witness demonstrations of their impressive skills. And this year, a very special SEAL partner is highlighted.
He's gonna do a zip line. He is ready to eat somebody.
Specially trained dogs have been going into combat with SEALs since the Vietnam War.
There goes Raptor.
It's a little difficult over there because the jungle was very thick, the sawgrass, the rivers, swamps, and the heat. The heat was really hard on the dogs.
I bet.
They were very effective, they saved lives, but just a difficult environment.
Today, canine units play a larger role than ever, assisting and protecting their human brothers.
So when you get to the target, you just don't want to open the door and start going in. One of the best things to do is get the dog in there first. One, it's low to the ground, they're extremely fast and reactive, and they're going to go right for the person.
The Belgian Malinois is the prominent breed used by SEAL teams. Favored for their intelligence, agility, loyalty, and stealth, they are fierce and fast with acute vision.
I serve as your right arm, a ready sword at your side. My life is one dedicated to service to you, the team, and our nation.
On this day, the museum is also honoring these special partners, unveiling a new Canine Memorial.
The statue includes paw prints and a list of names like Zeb, Ramco, and Toby. In all, 14 dogs who have given their lives for their teammates.
They made the ultimate sacrifice at some point. They're our canine brothers. They went into combat with us just like anybody else. So you want to honor them for what they did and their sacrifice.
Rodney and I sincerely encourage each and every one of you to come to Fort Pierce and to visit the Navy SEAL Museum, not only to learn their history, but maybe talk to a Navy SEAL and have the opportunity to thank them for their sacrifice and their service.
What is usually the last stop for visitors, but most certainly the most important, the Navy SEAL Memorial.
I can tell you this, all of them that were killed in combat, if they were standing here right now and they knew that they were going to get called for that mission, they would still go. Those are the type of men that we have on that wall.
On that granite wall are the names of all the men who have paid the ultimate sacrifice in the nearly 80-year history of America's elite fighting force, the Navy SEAL.
True heroes to whom we owe so very much. We'll be right back.
When Small Town Big Deal returns.
I'd definitely drive 2 hours for this burger.
No, Rodney Miller, he would drive 12 hours for this burger.
Welcome back to Small Town Big Deal. You know, traveling across America day after day works us up one big appetite. So no matter where we go, we're on the lookout for the best lunch spot in town.
Now, if the town happens to be Moonshine, Illinois, then people from hundreds of miles around know the best lunch spot in town is actually the only spot in town. In fact, it is the town.
This is the sound of Lisa and Jackie Tuttle cooking up some meaty magic.
They have a reputation for serving up the best burgers in Illinois and possibly the planet.
Now, what's your record for a day?
3,362 in April of 2017.
That's a lot of hamburgers.
When describing this location, one customer said, "It may not be in the middle of nowhere, but you can see it from there if you can see it over the corn crop." Moonshine sits just across the border from Indiana in the central part of Illinois. It's about 200 miles south of Chicago.
So where did you guys drive from to have these burgers?
Chicago, Illinois. Chicago.
Chicago. So that's like a 3.5-hour drive.
It's a destination.
But Chicago actually seems like next door when you start browsing through Moonshine's guest book.
Arizona, Washington, Oregon, Georgia.
a lot of people drive from a long ways, and some of them really do come just for a burger, but every once in a while you run across that person that we were their destination.
How long ago did you hear about it? How long have you been wanting to come here?
12 years for me.
What? 12 years? You better order more than one.
So if you think the Moonshine burger joint resembles an old-time general store, you're right. That's because it was constructed as one back in 1912.
It became the place for locals to see and be seen.
It was the first place that they had a TV. They came on Saturday nights. I mean, there's been a bowling team,
boxing ring set up outside.
Wow. In 1982, Helen and Roy Tuttle bought the store. In fact, for years, the population of Moonshine was only 2. The 2 were Helen and Roy, living above the store.
They soon transformed it into a burger hotspot, somehow stumbling on the secret of creating a large, palate-pleasing burger like no other.
Is there any secret?
There is no secret.
Well, my mother-in-law always said they were made with love.
Yeah.
We just make sure it's good and fresh beef.
And it's hand-pattied every day.
Roy has passed on, and Helen has since retired.
So their daughters-in-law, Lisa and Jackie, are the next generation of Tuttles, pressing on with the tradition, one patty at a time.
I'm so glad when I heard that the girls were going to keep it going. It's just family legacy. Yes.
A typical day starts before 6 a.m. By 9, the grill is fired up and orders are placed.
By 10, things are in full swing. Because in these parts, it's never too early in the day for a Moonshine burger.
You can also order other items like hot dogs and chicken patties, and they all come with the usual fixins. Well, except for one.
I see signs that say, we don't have lettuce. What's the deal with that?
It's hard to handle, and we just don't keep lettuce. We've never had lettuce.
What they lack in lettuce, they make up for in atmosphere.
Apparently, if you're grouchy, irritable, or just plain mean, there will be a $20 charge for just putting up with you.
I gotta get one of these for my office. There's no reason for it, it's just our policy.
There's also the no time like quitting time policy.
We shut the grill off at 12:30 and we close at 1.
All right, so if you're here at 12:30 and 30 seconds,
good chance you're not going to get a burger.
As the cars arrive, the clock is ticking. It's time to order.
Okay, now I want a hamburger for an appetizer, so with onions and ketchup, and then I want a hamburger for my main course with onions and ketchup. And then
customers head to the pickup window outside.
Thank you very much.
And after a few minutes,
Rodney, it's like music to our ears.
That's your dessert.
And a little taste of heaven in our mouths.
You're not going to want that one, are you?
Yes, I am. I definitely drive 2 hours for this burger.
No, Rodney Miller, you would drive 12 hours for this burger.
Lisa shuts down the grill just as the clock strikes 12:30. It's another day well done.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Small Town Big Deal.
You know, I am pretty sure that the Moonshine store is the most remote place I have ever gone just to grab a burger. And then being able to attend the muster at the Navy SEAL Museum, I know for both of us, it was a truly humbling experience.
We learned so much. I learned that the SEALs were actually part of the D-Day invasion, and that SEAL stands for sea, air, and land.
Let us say right now, we are so grateful and we are thankful for your service.
As always, I'm Rodney Miller.
And I'm Jan Carl.
Join us again next week when once again we celebrate the great stories from across America.
Come around the back side, it talks about the ethos of being a Navy SEAL and what it means. And it's called Swim Buddies, and you never leave anybody behind.
Words don't really let me express the emotion and pride of what just happened. But I can tell you this, that I'm proud to be an American.